Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, of course, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is Patricia or Luna. Posted to r/JustNoSignificantOther. The original posting date was November 15th, 2020. There is an editor's note on this one about the tale of the Hamburglar, which was posted to r/JustNoMother-in-law by OP, one of their original posts. I was going to look at this one originally to see if we could slide this one in, but this post is so massive that it would fit into a 30 to 40 minute segment block, so it would have to be its own episode. But if there's enough interest, I will cover it. Anyways, November 15th, 2020. Apparently, I've been lying about being a diabetic for the last 7 years. So, for anyone who just frequents Just No Mother-in-Law and remembers the Hamburglar story from a couple years ago, hi. Today's story has nothing to do with her. Don't worry. This story is about what happened to make me leave my husband, and it happened a couple weeks ago. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows someone who is never happy with anything you do. They could always do it better, but they never actually do. They just like to bitch at you. Okay, cool. So my ex was like that with everything. This one particular night, it was dinner. I had spent a good couple hours making meatloaf and hand mashed potatoes, and was super proud of it. And of course, having 2 small kids, I didn't eat as soon as it was done, but fed the 2-year-old and watched to make sure the big kid ate. By the time that was done, X was questioning me about why I had made a sauce to go on top of the meatloaf instead of just using ketchup. He was like that about a lot of things. We once had a fight over the fact that I made a cheese sauce for broccoli rice casserole instead of just using Velveeta. So, Of course, that fight escalated ridiculously, and by the time he was yelling, my face was going numb because I hadn't eaten all day and my sugar was crashing. I got up to go get my glucose monitor to see if I could just eat my dinner or if I needed a glucose tablet first. And this man lost his mind. First, he was yelling because I dared walk away from him while he was talking to me. And when I told him I was going to get my damn glucose monitor, he started screaming about how convenient it was that I needed to check my sugar while I was getting yelled at. He literally said that. Like, I don't even know, y'all. I pretty much told him I was an adult and would check my sugar every time I needed to, which was apparently unacceptable because he ripped the monitor from my hands and chucked it at the wall, busting it open. While I stood there in shock, he threw away the case with all my extra strips and lancets, then opened my glucose tablets and dumped them out in the trash too. He dumped out the meatloaf I had just spent hours making too. I'm not sure if just to be an extra dick or to make sure I couldn't salvage anything, but either way, it worked. I got to spend the next several minutes of my life listening to him yell about how I was faking being diabetic for sympathy, trying to get him to feel bad for me so I could get away with shit. Keeping in mind, this is all over the fact that there wasn't Heinz tomato ketchup on his damn meat cake. He then told me to sit down, shut up, and eat some of those nasty-ass potatoes, I guess. Not even gonna lie, I did. Not sure if it's just because I was in so much shock or if I just felt that bad from the sugar crash, but I sat right the fuck down and got some carbs in my system. Then got the kids to bed and went to bed myself. He didn't say a word to me that night or the next morning before work. The next day was payday for me, and I spent every cent of my check on deposits for an apartment for me and the boys. The last couple of weeks have been hard as hell, and he's been super nasty. And I'm not even sure how to go about getting a divorce in Louisiana, but at least I don't have to live with someone who thinks I'm making up a disease I've had the entire time I've known him just so he doesn't scream at me about dinner. Edit. Holy crap, guys, I just wanted to tell someone else how crazy this man is. Thank you so much for all the kind words and support. Relevant comments. Allison Harlan. Go to the police with your broken material and open a file against him for that. It will be useful for when you'll divorce. OP responds, I thought about this since, but unfortunately not until several days after when they were long gone with the trash. Brainy Brink responds, it doesn't matter that the evidence is gone. Document the abuse, theft, and danger he poses to you and your babies. User Memento Moruben comments, I don't comment much. I just lurk as I'm single, but he threw out and broke your meter, strips, lancets, and your food. I'm a type 1 myself, and that's hundreds of dollars in supplies, like, oh my god. I'm so glad you had the ability and strength to leave him. Good for you, and I'm so sorry. OP responds, yeah. I have no idea how long it'll take me to make sure everything is replaced. I'm a waitress and suddenly a single mom. I found a super cheap monitor on Amazon that I'll get in the meantime. I'm just not sure how reliable it's actually going to be. It's definitely better than nothing, though. Update, November 26th, 2020, 11 days later. I just thought that you guys may want to know. At the behest of a member here, and with the support of my lawyer and 2 officers, I was able to get back into our house and access the security footage from our kitchen that he hadn't thought to delete. Honestly, I had forgotten about the security cameras inside our kitchen. It's been so long since Hamburglar, and I'm betting he had too. That footage was enough for me to press charges today. I'm not sure where things will go from here, as he fled the States to his mama's house, but I feel good. I feel strong. I feel validated. Watching the look on the cop's face as he trashed my medical supplies was chef's kiss. Thank you so much for all the support I got on my last post. I wasn't feeling very strong when I posted it, but you guys are absolute angels. I'm beginning to think that me and my boys will be okay. OP made a final comment in the comments of the previous Redditor updates. Final update, October 9th, 2022, 2 years later. Hi. I woke up this morning to so many DMs referencing this post and had to do some searching to find this. To answer the common questions, yes, we are divorced, obviously. The kids and I are safe. The 2-year-old is 4 now, and the big kid is about to turn 8. Life isn't super easy, but we're together, and they know nothing but love. To those asking about the sudden change in my ex-husband from his behavior in the Hamburglar saga, that is how abuse works, more often than not. Love bombing is real. The victim of abuse believing that they deserve this treatment, that they are lucky to have their abuser to love them, is so common. Because he didn't scream at me and he told me he loved me. He was wonderful and kind, even as he did everything he could to make me completely reliant on him. As our marriage progressed, things got steadily worse. This incident was the first time I was able to recognize what he was doing was abuse. But when you look back, there was always a pattern. I've done a lot of healing and can recognize what I've been through and not let those comments bother me, but please try not to make a habit of invalidating victims of abuse because that isn't what they said before. That is exactly the line of thinking that causes so many people to be stuck in a very dangerous situation. OP added more in this comment to a deleted user. He never faced jail time, but this footage, as well as the fact that charges were filed in addition to some truly unhinged behavior following this, were all instrumental in me being granted full custody of our kids, as well as being granted the divorce without having to wait the 2 years Louisiana normally makes you wait. He didn't even show up to the hearing. He still lives in a different state with his mom, and we haven't seen him in 7 months. If there's enough traction, or if there's enough interest, maybe tomorrow instead of doing Am I the Asshole, I'll do the Hamburglar saga instead. And that'll be tomorrow's video, if there's enough interest, of course. Because it certainly sounds like it is one hell of a story. As a final bit of note here, I do kind of want to echo what OP ended on with the fact of when the abuse is happening to you, to so many people around you, it can be extremely obvious, but to you, it is just not. You just can't really comprehend what's going on because your reality has been controlled and it's been forced to be fundamentally different from what everyone else is seeing. It's also why when I see comments on other posts where it's like, yeah, you're the asshole for letting this happen to you. It's infuriating as hell. There have been times where I go out of my way for when I cover Am I the Asshole to try to find posts where OP is the asshole to see if I can actually go and have it be a diverse category so it's not just a bunch of, not the asshole, here's a shitty thing that happened to me. Where it's someone who actually is the asshole. But oftentimes, I'll end up just finding posts where OP is being completely reasonable and they're dealing with a shitty abusive scenario and the first comment is, yeah, you're the asshole to yourself. And then of course, because of how Am I the Asshole does the consensus bot, the post gets labeled as OP being the asshole. Because some fucking lobotomized chimpanzee of a human decided, yeah, you being abused, that's your fault. I'm actually going to be really interested when covering, if we decide to cover the Hamburglar post, how many red flags we're going to be able to spot about the husband's behavior and what was secretly there and lying under the surface that was overshadowed by the mother-in-law's behavior. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, of course, Satan is not a pogo stick. The regional OP is practical name 6102, posted at r/am-I-the-asshole May 31st, 2024. Am I the asshole for telling my mom I'd call the cops if she tried to get rid of my dog? This best of includes a 1-year update. I, 17 female, have a dog whom I keep in the house with my 38 female mom and my other family members, dad and older brother. My dog has been sick for a while, and at first, my mom refused to give me any money to take my dog to the vet, saying I shouldn't have wasted my pocket money, which is non-existent. I don't get money other than on special occasions. I broke the saving pot I personally saved up for a laptop myself to take my dog to the vet. My dog got treatment, and it turns out she was sick. She has medication I have to feed her, and has been quite tired as of late. She's been quiet for a week or so, and today, when my mom came home, she was being loud, which alarmed my dog and had her barking. I was sleeping when my mom bombarded my phone saying she'd get rid of my dog if I didn't shut her up. My mom has a tendency to leave my dog out and tell me she gave her away, until I'm sobbing and then tells me she's trying to discipline me. So when I woke up, I took my dog while my mom yelled, and I told her she was insane for even thinking of that I'd call the cops if she let my dog loose again, especially since it was raining. My mom has been giving me the silent treatment, and my dad says I overreacted and that she was just joking, which is making me second guess. Am I the asshole for saying I'd call the cops? Verdict, not the asshole, thankfully. Relevant comments, Lucky Charm 8020. Not the asshole. Hold that dog close. Try really hard to get yourself a job and move away from your abusers as soon as possible. I caution you strongly about calling the cops though, because they may deem your dog to be in an unsafe environment since your mother is the adult in this situation. With regards to the health and welfare of your dog, there are payment plans you can get at most vet hospitals. So this is why it's massively important you try to at least get yourself a weekend job to help with that. You're probably on the struggle right now because you're juggling school amongst other things, which is totally understandable. And I realize that today's current financial landscape doesn't make it easy for a young person to leave home at 18 and immediately find a place to live. My advice to you is either try to move in with another family member, if any of them are trustworthy, or get 2 or 3 friends together and rent share. But whatever you do, you need to get away from these child abusers and animal abusers. Best of luck, and please keep us updated. OP responds, I've been looking into moving out after I graduate and moving in with a friend in a different country for university. Thankfully, my grades are pretty high, have a good amount of volunteer hours, and play sports for my school, so I have a good chance at a scholarship as well. But even if I don't get a scholarship, I do plan to move out and save up until I can get a higher education. I've been cautious with my dog as well, keeping her close by and having her sleep with me. Lucky Charm responds, these are all fantastic things, and I honestly wish you the best of luck with it all. Are you able to take Pupper with you when you go abroad? OP responds, yes, of course. I have looked into that as well, and I am able to take her. My friend also has a dog, so they'll be play buddies too. OP explains how they got the dog. I got my pup back in 2018 when she was only a few months old. Back when I was around 11 or 12, I'm not sure. But back then, I had spoken to my parents, and they both agreed to let me get a pup on the condition that I had to take her on walks and brush her fur. I agreed to the terms and got my pup while no one around the house really helped. I didn't expect any help as I personally agreed to having my own pup and taking care of her. And so, I basically raised my pup myself. My parents or siblings were never really involved in taking care of her, other than some days like when I was sick or on a school trip. And even then, my brother took care of her, not my mom. So I don't see how she could be a burden to my mom other than the occasional barking. She's very well behaved. Obi would later go to post a photo of their dog, and she's just a little guy. Like, look at this. According to OP, she's a Pomeranian fox face. Update. September 4th, 2025, 16 months later. Am I the asshole for telling my parents I will not be helping them with their rent? I, 18 female, moved out of my parents' house a little while ago as soon as I could. To provide some context, my parents were both emotionally abusive and have wronged me many times in my life, including threatening to get rid of my dog, which I have a whole post on. Since I moved out, I've been working a job and paying rent for an apartment I share with my friend, and have had enough money left to save up a bit to go to college in a few years. I am the youngest in the family, so after I moved out, no one was left at home. Both my siblings moved out as well. So their financial support from my brother paying them rent for his bedroom has been cut off. I am completely independent and I've told my parents multiple times that I want nothing to do with them and even block their numbers completely. Earlier this week, my grandmother called me and explained that my parents desperately needed money for rent and asked if I could spare money from my college savings, which I saved up on my own so far, to help them. I outright refused and told my grandmother I would not be helping at all, since every penny in my savings is gathered by me working hard and supporting myself. I love my grandmother, and told her that if she needed help herself, I was willing to help, but would not help with my parents. For this entire week, my aunt has been calling me repeatedly, saying my parents really need this, and deserved it for raising me. My mom's side of the family threatened to cut me off if I didn't help, which is honestly so petty because I'm only 18 years old. They should be helping instead. Goddamn right they should be. I told my friend about it, and she said that I was taking it too far and I should have helped. Now I'm wondering if I'm the asshole. My guess would be is that your friend is unaware of the situations that you were raised in, or they have a very sturdy home life at home, and that's probably why they have that opinion, because they don't have the outside perspective of growing up in a family that's not fully put together. But like, if your mom's side of the family is looking at cutting you off for not financially supporting them, then let the trash take itself out, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Verdict, OP's not the asshole. Top comments. Available love 7940. Quote, they deserve it for raising you. No, that's what's legally required. You have children, you raise them. They don't owe you for doing that. Your aunt and your mom's side are all welcome to contribute to the rent if they are so concerned. You, save up for some therapy as well, and good luck, not the asshole. User casual lore comments, not the asshole, you're doing fantastic, moved out, saving for college, on your own, and cutting off your abusive family. Keep it up, don't let anyone drag you back in that situation with their petty manipulations. You got this. Opie responds, thank you so much, you have no idea how much that means to me. I truly appreciate the kind words from the bottom of my heart. King Bretwald comments, make sure your parents aren't on your bank account. Have it in a credit union or a bank they've never used if possible. Also, check your credit. Make sure they haven't taken out any loans or credit cards in your name. Lock it down. Opie responds, I will definitely contact my bank in the morning. Everyone seems to be warning me about that. Update. So, to start off, yes, I froze my card. I froze it the morning after I made this post and spoke to my bank about any bills being opened in my name. My friend helped me open a new account in a different bank as well. Many people also asked why I told people I had savings, and to that I say, I'm stupid. What happened was, I had told my grandmother about it because I was sort of excited about standing on my own feet, but that seemed to backfire. Since then I have stood my ground and have not given them any money. I did block my aunt as well, and am going to have minimal contact with my grandmother. I told them I had a car emergency and had to use the money. So I have nothing left to give, but I think they don't believe me. But overall, I will not be lending them any money, especially not from my savings. Sounds like OP's got a good head on them, and they're doing exactly what they need to do. They've moved out, they've gotten away from an abusive situation, and now their parents are dealing with the consequences of, what do you mean you're not going to help us with our financial crisis we're currently having? We raised you after all, and we also threatened to get rid of your dog at any slight inconvenience and purposely did it so that way we'd get a rise out of you and to quote-unquote teach you a lesson. And you're not allowed to be mad at that because we were just joking. Meanwhile, we all know for a fact the reason why OP's being targeted is because they have a quote-unquote disposable savings account. But again, if OP's mother's family actually cared as much as they seem to do enough to harass OP about helping them pay with the bills, why don't they just chip in a couple $100 here or there? Huh? Why not? Or is it just because OP's the one with disposable income or disposable savings account that you guys think it's okay to try to hound that so that way the pressure's off of your back and you get to take the credit of, well, I helped convince your daughter to help pay the bills, so therefore I did my part. OP, it probably also wouldn't be a bad idea for you just to kind of sit down and have a talk with your roommate of all the shit you've had to go through, so that way they're not in the position where they're guilting you to help your abusive family out, because they don't know the past and history of it. This post was collected by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, I'm keeping the garlic. The original OP is Such Designer 5185, posted to r/Am I the Asshole September 5th, 2025. Am I the asshole for refusing to speak to my friend and end our 15-plus year-long friendship after she took my purse, used my money, and lost it? So I, 21 female, am just about to leave from a vacation with a friend, also 21 female, and I'm honestly still sick over what happened. A few days ago, she took my expensive Zadig and Voltaire purse without asking. This purse was a Christmas gift from my sister and has huge sentimental value. I've spent the past few years taking really good care of it because it means so much to me. When she took it, she didn't even tell me. I only found out after the fact she used it to go to the laundromat and in the process used my money, which she also didn't ask to take. For context, the purse had $40 in cash and a bunch of quarters, a gift from my sister's friend's mom, around 60 euros in notes, and at least 20 euros in coins. So we're talking over 100 euros in total, not to mention the purse itself. And now, the purse is gone. She lost it. I was obviously upset, not yelling or blaming her, just crying and saying I wasn't mad, just hurt. I told her how much that purse meant to me and how hard I've worked to keep it safe for years. Instead of apologizing, she got huffy with me, rolled her eyes and said, "How much does it cost? I'll just replace it." In this angry, dismissive tone. She has a very defensive and confrontational nature that makes me feel bullied and small, so I find it hard to stand up to her. But it's not just about the money, it's about trust, about respect, and about losing something deeply personal to me. Since then, she hasn't apologized at all. In fact, she's acting annoyed that I'm upset. Now we're on the last night of our trip, and I've decided to just be neutral and quiet for the journey home. But once we're back, I plan to stop speaking to her entirely. I feel like she violated my boundaries, disrespected my belongings, and is now making me feel like I'm too sensitive for being hurt. But some mutual friends are already making me feel like I'm being dramatic and should let it go, because it's just a bag. So am I the asshole for cutting her off and refusing to speak to her after this? So before we get into the comments, I stumbled upon this piece of advice just from a random comment on a random TikTok. And it pretty much breaks down to, if you're in a disagreement with a friend and your group of friends immediately take their side and never ask you for your side of the story or your emotions or how you're feeling about it, you've kind of just gotten your answer for how you fit into that group and how everyone actually feels about you. In this case, OP's friends are just going with the, just let it go, it's just a bag, taking the not-so-neutral neutrality position while also inadvertently siding with the friend who lost the bag and telling OP to just simply fucking get over it. It would be one thing if the friend lost the bag but was super apologetic and jumping at the gun to replace it and doing everything they could to try and make this up to OP. That would be one thing, but that's not the scenario we have. We have them annoyed by the fact that OP's upset that they lost their belongings and just begrudgingly offering to pay for it. Some of OP's comments. Top commenter, she's not a friend. She also needs to pay you back for the purse. She stole it actually, so she's a thief, so your choice on how to handle it going forward, not the asshole. OP responds, she agrees to reimburse me, which I accepted, but I haven't spoken with her further about it as I've been too upset to look up the cost of the purse. And I also haven't told her the amount that was in the purse. I plan to do it in 2 days' time, where I will post the update after I discuss with her my true feelings about this. Commenter, the girl is either one of these people with zero conscience or this is OP lying. Difficult to determine these days. Reddit is a place of honesty and big liars. OP responds, zero conscience. She was raised the only child in a very wealthy family and does not understand sentiment and thinks throwing money at the issue makes everything better. To the many people telling her to check friends' luggage. She said she checked the laundromat this morning to check the lost and found and there was no sign of it. I'm going to check her luggage when we land based off of good advice here. I'm a bit scared to accuse her of theft as she's quite an aggressive person. Commenter, now you mentioned it has sentimental value as it came from your sister. Has your sister passed? Can you not just rebuy the same model? Like, I get it, it was a nice gift, but it is just a purse. Unless the purse was custom or unique in some way, or your sister passed, I think you're being overly sensitive. OP responds, it does have sentimental value. I come from a large rural family in Ireland. We do not have a lot of money. My older sister moved away, and for Christmas one year, when I had not received any gifts for Christmas due to a financial rough spot, she bought me that bag, as I had turned 18 that year. She's a glamorous, successful woman in her 30s, and it meant a lot to me to have something such quality as it was my first time owning anything like that. She doesn't have to be dead for it to be sentimental. OP clarifies, I understand where you're coming from. Thank you for clarifying. From my perspective, the sentimental value was not that it was a rare or customized bag, it was a gorgeous purse given to me in a time of need. It was always a dream purse of mine, and seeing that I got nothing else for Christmas bar some chocolates and skincare along with my first real purse as an adult, from someone I love very much, it held great sentimental value. However, I do understand and see where you're coming from. I appreciate your grounded and level-headed POV. Thanks. Commenter, stop being a doormat and people won't treat you like one. Clearly you're not overreacting and you know it. You just want an army of people coddling you while you let her keep treating you like a pushover. Lofi responds, I am on a different continent with two girls who have been gaslighting me, saying it's not a big deal. They're both wealthy and their parents fund their lifestyle, whereas I do not. It's difficult to call my parents for advice due to the constant proximity to the girls, and felt I was going crazy, so I took it to the sub for advice. Not looking for coddling, believe me. If I didn't feel the need to take you to the sub, I would have avoided it. Thank you. Update, September 9th, 2025, 4 days later. So, I have an update. Thank you to everyone who gave advice or shared support. It really helped me more than you know. On the flight home, she asked me to mind her passport in my bag, even though she had her own backpack. I agreed, just to keep the peace because I didn't want to deal with any attitude or fighting. When we landed, she turned to me and asked, Do you have my passport? In this snappy tone. I was still hurt and wanted to get one last jab in, so I said, using the exact words she said to me all week about my missing purse, I was checking my bag the whole time to make sure your passport was there, but maybe it'll show up when we get off the plane. I regretted saying it immediately. She snapped in front of other passengers, finally acknowledging that I'd been upset about the purse, but in the most cruel and dismissive way. She said, well, at least I didn't throw a hissy fit bawling and crying for hours over a purse. That was the last straw. She acknowledged my obvious upset, yet still would not apologize. Once we got our bags at the airport, I told her I wanted to check her suitcase for my purse. I said if she refused, I'd involve the police. She tried to say I was violating her privacy, which is hilarious considering she took my purse and went through my belongings. I told her if it wasn't there, she had nothing to be worried about. I also made it clear I wasn't going to touch any of her stuff, that I wasn't interested in taking others' belongings without permission, just checking for what was mine. She was absolutely fuming, face red, shaking, visibly furious. Then she shoved her bag at me and told me to go ahead. I opened a zip compartment, and inside was a black trash bag. Inside that was a red Target bag. Inside that, drumroll, my purse. All of the money was still inside, the cash, the euro coins, but no quarters. I was honestly so shocked I couldn't even ask why she had it or what her plan was. I just said, thanks, and walked away with my stuff. I got on the bus home and haven't spoken to her since. I wish I hadn't been so emotionally drained to have given her a piece of my mind. She since blocked me with no apology or explanation. As a side note, her mom, who doesn't know we're not speaking, called me at 3 a.m. crying. She was saying how badly she feels by her daughter and her husband, how she's constantly belittled. I won't get into any of what's just happened, but definitely gave me more perspective. This girl is a cruel and horrendous person with little to no empathy, and I think maybe a sociopath. My guess would be as the daughter came home and ended up yelling at her parents or something like that, which then prompted this phone call. Anyway, I got my purse back, but the whole thing left a really bad taste in my mouth. I still don't fully understand what she was trying to do, and honestly, I don't think I want to. I'm just relieved it's over. What do you guys think she was aiming to do with the purse? Very little of my money inside was used. So strange. Thanks again. Edit. I didn't realize this would gain such traction so quickly. Thank you to everyone. Also, she chronically watches the Smosh YouTube channel where they review Reddit stories like Am I the Asshole, etc. I believe. I'm just laughing about thinking if this came up. I feel like she's so self-absorbed, she would not clock that it's about her. Nonetheless, I created this Reddit account to specifically post this, so it can't be tracked back to me. Peace emoji. Some of OP's comments. Commenter, why haven't you told your friends and her mom about what happened? It's like you want her to rewrite the story to make you the villain. OP responds, My friends are aware and my entire family. They told me they are disgraced by her behavior and to cut off contact with her. My friends on vacation, however, whether they sided with her or were actually too afraid to side with me, I'm not sure. I haven't reached out to them. And from advice from the previous post, I'm not continuing my friendships with them. I can't be friends with someone who is too weak to stand up for me. Her mother was drunk driving, and in a bad spot, so I felt it was not the right time to bring up the situation as she was very upset. OP responded to questions about the mom. Yes, drink driving. So was a dire situation, and I'm in the midst of trying to get her professional help without the rest of her family knowing. Sticky situation, they will come at her for coming to me. Commenter. I pity her poor mom so much. OP responds, it's actually heartbreaking. The things she was telling me about her daughter last night echoed her behavior towards me on that vacation. Commenter. You should block her and tell her mom what she did. OP responds, I plan to. When her mother is in a better place, I can't imagine someone telling her that her daughter is an actual piece of shit would make her feel better at this time. She has a HX of mental health issues and I have to tread lightly. OP responding to the general question of her stealing it. But if she was truly trying to steal it, why not fight a bit harder to not let me look through her suitcase? I've seen her be more stubborn. Although there was an audience of other passengers and my friends from the vacation, it's hard to tell what her motives were. Honestly, it was probably the threat of getting police involved. She's probably never had to deal with authorities, so she didn't really know the ins and outs of it and just assumed that this could get worse for her. Commenter, this is such a bizarre story. I'm not implying it didn't happen, not at all. She took the bag, but didn't use the money inside, except the quarter. She didn't dump it either. I wonder if she has a collection of trophies that she's stolen. Her mom seems to be aware that her daughter has different behavior than most of the others. It sounds like other friends may be scared of her? So that's the mom and possibly the friends that are unnerved by her. I can imagine that rage. The rage that she knows you'll find your purse and she won't get away with it. Good for you for sticking up for yourself. I would distance yourself away, far away from her. The link wouldn't work for me. That friend is not a friend to cause you all this stress when you are on holiday, trying to enjoy yourself. I may not have any psychological training, just the University of Life, but she doesn't sound right to me. OP responds, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to wrap my head around it all. My family and friends are just as confused as to what her objective was. My dad just put it down to, in his very old country Irish father way, cunts are everywhere. Don't think about it anymore. Just don't give it a time of day ever again. Thank you for your wise words, Dad. Also, to anyone in my audience who's Irish, I am so fucking sorry for that. Commenter, what a smart way of handling it. If she would have left the airport, you would have never seen it again. Did you hold her passport hostage to get her to give you her bag? I'm surprised she didn't try to walk out of the airport or something. Were police close by or anything? OP responds, thank you. I gave her the passport directly after she had a go at me on the plane when we landed. We were at the bag drop-off in the arrivals terminal, and she helped everyone else get their bags off the belt except me, even though she knows I was struggling with the bag weight the entire trip due to my bad back. Had surgery on it early June. I have endometriosis lesions all over the ligaments attached to my back. Yay! So I took that as a big fuck you. So I was raging and demanded that I check her luggage, where she sticked up a fuss saying, why should I go through her luggage as it was a violation of her privacy? LOL. And I reasoned with her, I'll report her for theft if she has nothing to hide, she'll be okay, etc. Until she broke down and let me. At this stage, our interaction gained the attention of our friends and nearby passengers, so she was embarrassed and let me win and check her luggage. I wonder if OP's friend had the mentality of, oh, she's poor, she can't have nice things, so let me just take this back to where it belongs. That also explains why she was so annoyed and confrontational about OP's reaction to the purse going missing, because she had it. She was keeping it, and she was probably really hoping that OP would just be like, oh, damn, that sucks. Yeah, I'll just take the amount that it cost, and wasn't expecting there to be some giant fiasco surrounding it. Like, I've dealt with 5-year-olds when I was a kid that had this mentality where, like, a neighbor next door was an only child as well, and had the mentality of, if I can't have this toy, no one could have it, and would oftentimes either break my things or steal them, or just other bullshit. I've talked with this kid previously in other videos. And it literally just feels like that, but they never grew out of it. They never grew up from being 5 years old and having a jealousy complex. She's a brat, and honestly, probably one of the reasons why this story doesn't feel so satisfying is that she never got her comeuppance. She pretty much just got to walk away from it all, and because of her attitude towards life and how she treats people, No one's gonna stand up to her. They're gonna continue playing neutral and let her get away with more of this shit. People like this suck. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.